think just making diversity kind of like the norm and just making it a very natural thing, such as like by hiring people from different cultures, from different experiences, and just having them be naturally among like colleagues and everything will just kind of like normalize it over time and just make people feel more comfortable because they're getting used to it and they just work with different kinds of people every day.
I think that from a strategic standpoint, it's important for people to understand the value of diversity in the workplace. That when we have unique perspectives from unique backgrounds, that we're going to function better in our team environments. Additionally, it's going to be continually important, both now and moving forward, for people to have an understanding of different cultures in the workplace because this next generation of college graduates, and increasingly so with each generation, is more and more diverse in the sense of coming from backgrounds that traditionally have not attended and graduated from college at the same rates as the majority culture in the United States. So the workplace 20 years from now is going to look visibly different than it does now.
Getting more people open to diversity starts with getting more people who are more or less non-affected parties in their perceptions more engaged and involved in the initiatives that, say, companies put forth. So just getting someone who just may not feel like a minority of a certain group when there's a company club meeting or something, just getting their interest piqued to go and maybe start to.
I think our first step and the biggest thing that we can do is, especially in terms of women, encouraging women to go for those bigger and higher positions. For example, like as an accounting major, I see in the accounting field how a lot of partners at the big four firms are men, even though a lot of the firms hire mostly women to start off. So sometime between entry level jobs and up all the way to partners, there's a disconnect in what the firm wants and what the firm sees as potential in a partner. So I think that professionally and developmentally, firms should think of it, take a step back and say, what can we do to encourage women to then go for those?
I hope that more women will get involved in politics, with women being more than 50% of our population, and yet they're not 50% of our government. I hope, I don't know if it'll be in the next 5 years, but I hope within the next like 5 to 20 years we'll see more women in politics.
Basically, any like male dominated field, like finance, like myself and some of my other friends, we notice like we're one of like the fewer females in the classroom, and that makes me feel like proud that we're kind of like making that advancement for like the next group of women to come. So definitely like analytical and technology based industries. I think they're getting ready to kind of start making it the norm that it's not a boys club.
I think that certain fields tend to be popular with female employees in the business world. Accounting is very popular for many of our female students here at Mays. There's a myriad of reasons of why perhaps that is, in that many young women do feel skilled specifically in that area. Additionally, the field itself can offer good long-term benefits for those who desire to have a family. Unfortunately, we still kind of have a family versus career environment in America, and that's something that we hope to see change in the sense of that those two factors aren't at odds. And so the accounting field continues to offer decent long-term opportunities for women who do intend on either having children or adopting children. The largest growth is going to come in the more technical areas, being MIS and supply chain management, where there really aren't any barriers in those fields except for expectation on the part of the student. We're seeing more young women embrace technology and the culture around technology because of less expectations placed on them at a young age to be a certain way because they are a young woman.
I'd like take away the stereotypes that are usually around, like, oh, women are supposed to stay at home, like they're supposed to do like the cleaning and all that stuff. We should kind of look at it in a different perspective as a whole society, because it does affect the way that we think a lot. Like if society thinks a certain way, that kind of leads us to believe it ourselves. So I guess like as a society, like grow out of those stereotypes and see that the world is changing and that women are like, you know, wanting to get higher jobs and all that stuff. So if we encourage women to want.
It starts with the individual themselves, making sure they change their perspective. If they feel that they may not be in a welcomed environment, changing their perspective is probably the most effective thing that they can do. So if they come in telling themselves, you know, that I'm going to be unapologetic about who I am and what I bring to the table, then that will more or less get other people to maybe raise their eyebrow and say, oh, this person may interest me because, you know, they don't have anything to hide. We can know about them a lot easier than to try to divvy around them when it comes to them trying to open up in an environment. So it starts with the individual themselves making a decision to be unapologetic so that other people can welcome them.
Relationships are key in fostering environments of diversity, whether that's connecting more and more employees at companies to young people that are aspiring to be business professionals, or continue to invest further as companies in increasing representation, so that people can work alongside more and more people of diverse backgrounds.
I think one of the most obvious threats to inclusivity in our society is people that aren't willing to accept change or accept people that aren't like them, because that can be contagious too. Just like good things kind of overflow, bad things can too, and maybe like that type of thinking can kind of spread. So I think it's really important to always be making progress and doing things in a positive light to spread like inclusivity and acceptance between different groups of people. And if you see something wrong, if you see someone discriminating or someone being unfair to someone, just speaking up and not letting it just happen, reaching out and making sure that people know that you're there for them, and just speaking up against anything that you see.
People who are looking at the initiative may try to blind eye to it, and they may ignore it, and that's kind of where, you know, the information falling on their ears does nothing. So keeping people sparking their interest, getting them engaged is the biggest thing. The threat lies in when you have information or opportunities falling on deaf ears.
That I think are two things. It is ignorance and closed-mindedness. Personally, as an Indian American, my parents moved here from India. I have had people ask me questions or say things to me that weren't necessarily because they were trying to be rude or racist or anything like that, but because they simply did not know and didn't know how to ask the question properly or bridge the conversation in a way that would be respectful. So I think there's that ignorance. You know, people genuinely don't understand how to communicate about these things effectively.
26, 2015. I was in Fargo, North Dakota at Sandy's Donuts, getting ready to eat a s'mores donut, and on my phone, a CNN alert popped up saying that the Supreme Court had ruled 5-4 that gay marriage in the United States was now allowed. It was one of those moments that you'll never forget.
I think we're in a really interesting time period right now, politically. I think, you know, there's been bans and then there's been generalizations about groups of people, which is definitely trying to turn us backwards. But I think that in turn has also made people come together and made people stand up against that and kind of bond people together in the light of like diversity and inclusivity. So even though it's maybe putting a lot of people in a really bad spot and making them feel uncomfortable, they can see that there are people that are rising against that, and that there's people there that's going to be there for them and accept them for who they are and want to grow that type of energy in the rest of our society.
I think that it's a wonderful thing that companies now have these, diversity and inclusion networks. They have them established. That's a great thing. And you have to think about, what's the next step from here? You got to keep on going.
Want to be, and you shouldn't feel intimidated if you're in a field where like there's only male or stuff. You should feel even more proud of yourself. Like, dang, I made it this far. So you should just keep striving for more, and don't think, and the sky's the limit. Yeah.
I think don't be intimidated. I think that's something I come across in my life, is that maybe I can feel intimidated because maybe I'm not as good as them, or maybe they know more than I do, or they have more resources than I do. But just do it. Like, just put yourself out there and overcome it. You're the only one that's gonna be holding yourself back. If you push beyond the barriers and push beyond that fear, the greatest things are gonna be on the other side of that. So.
And I can say to women, all ages, races, sizes, whatever, is that you are full on your own. No one can take away what is you and how full you are. You cannot allow anyone to say that you are not good enough, or not smart enough, or not pretty enough, or not skinny enough, or whatever. Because at the end of the day, you are you.
Say you yourself realize that your abilities, your values, who you are as an individual is going to take you where you want to go. It doesn't mean you have to go alone, but know your own capabilities. And for both men and just people broader in leadership, I encourage those of us on the outside, or those of us who are mentoring young women, not to put people in boxes and to allow them to pursue their goals as they see them.
Remember those who came before you. You're not alone, because they had to struggle too. Your struggle is going to become a part of your own story, and it might be a shared story for the generations to come. So keep on pushing through if you are incurring any kind of difficult situation, or if you know someone incurring a difficult situation. Having that support means everything.